Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Riverfront. This is episode number 443 of the world's most dangerous podcast. I'm your host, Chad Dotson. With me again, slightly more dangerous than me, it's Nate Dotson. How are you, Nate?
Chad, I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for asking. I tweaked my back in the gym a little bit today. Nothing too bad. Don't worry about me. But, I play through the pain. I still show up for the games, asking coach to put me in. I'm just that kind of player. So let's do this.
Yeah, you. I appreciate the gamer attitude. Fantastic.
I gotta bring it.
That's right. Yeah. And this is actually your second show of the week. For those of you that follow the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, you will know that Nate and Joe Farsing debuted the Riverfront Bengals show this week. It was fantastic. I urge you to go listen to that if you haven't already. Download it, give it a like, subscribe, whatever. It's the same channel as you get this show. You should be able to find that. So looking forward to how that goes with the big Bengal season starting soon. But we're here to talk about the Cincinnati Reds. And I actually have to say, we start this show every week by like, oh, it's a bad year, but it's a bad year.
It's a bad year.
It's a bad year. But this was actually sort of a fun week in some ways to watch this team and some fun things to talk about. I'm really kind of looking forward to it. Just from the results perspective, the Reds took 2 out of 3 from the Colorado Rockies. And then, of course, 2 out of 3 versus the Chicago Cubs today with Alejo Lopez and Jonathan India coming through with clutch hits in the top of the 9th inning. And Big Ian Jabot getting his first big league save. What a time to be alive.
My goodness. Every time his name pops up, I get really confused and oddly excited.
Yeah, I forget about him between performances. I forget he exists. It's not seen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The guy whose name I refuse to learn how to pronounce. Maybe next year, Ian. Give me some time. But you're right. It's the Reds won a couple series. Playing a decent brand of baseball. I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but somehow this team, since their 3-22 start, is like only a couple games below 500 still, crazy. Even after trading off everybody. So it's not been an exciting September from a competitive playoff run standpoint, but the guys aren't quitting. They're out there playing hard, and they're not making you regret turning it on the TV screen most nights.
And we still are turning it on for whatever reason. But, look, who cares about the bottom line at this point? But the Reds are just a game out of third place now. So, that's something to keep playing for. A game behind, of course, the Chicago Cubs for third place. And
have opened up a big Chicago Cubs.
Exactly, stupid Cubs. And a full 5.5 game lead over Pittsburgh for last place. So, look.
Let the train keep on rolling.
But what I was talking about, obviously the wins. I prefer the wins because if I'm going to watch the game, I would prefer if the Red players win. But there was also some kind of fun stuff. A couple weeks ago, I waxed poetic about the Field of Dreams game, and I got a little gooey about baseball, and so half of you rolled your eyes. There he goes again. But we had one of those moments this week. Actually, sort of 2 of those moments in the same game for me. The first I want to talk about is the legend of Spencer Steer. Have you ever heard of this guy?
I hadn't heard about him until an alleged haul.
He was part of a haul. Yeah. Spencer Steer came over from the Twins in the Tyler Mahle trade, or as I saw on Sports Illustrated site yesterday, Tommy Mahle. Did you know Sports Illustrated is still a thing?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, so they're talking about Tommy Mahle over there. But anyway, Spencer Steer, a relatively well-regarded prospect who a third-round pick out of college who has actually gotten to the big leagues fairly quickly. He's 24 years old. A lot to like about Spencer Steer. I don't know if Spencer Steer is ever going to be a superstar, but if we expect that every player that came up to be a superstar, well, we'd be disappointed with 99.9% of the players. But I think he's got a chance to be a really good big league player. And the reason why is this guy has an idea at the plate. He just absolutely. We say that occasionally about guys like Votto. Who else recently? Just guys that they have that patience that we wish Jose Barrero had. If Jose Barrero had a third of that, he'd be a superstar right now. So, but Steer made his debut, and I'll just briefly. I want to go at bat quickly, but I do just want to say he got on base 4 times in his debut. First Reds player to debut and reach base at least 4 times since Jay Bruce did it in 2008. Let's see. He scored the game-winning run in a 3-2 walk-off win. So Jonathan India got a walk-off hit to win the game for the Reds, and Steer scored, and they doused him with the water. And just an incredible debut for the young man. And I don't know. I love stuff like that. His family's excited. I don't know. I love it.
Well, you forgot the best part. The man's first major league at bat was a home run.
Yeah.
He had a couple walks in that game, of course, but so he had his first plate appearance was a walk, but home run and for his first major league hit, his first technical major league at bat. You don't, and then to score the winning run on a walk off by the guy who's probably going to have to sort of usher in the next crop of talented young Reds, Jonathan India. I hate to say it because it just is a testament to how the season's been, but that might have been the most exciting win of the year for the Reds.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons, right? Not anything to do with the standings, but yeah, you're right. I buried the lead there. Spencer Steer. Okay, first of all, 61st player to play for the Reds this season. 10th
seems
player
like a lot.
It seems like a lot. He's the 10th player to make his major league debut for the Reds this year, which is just insane. But
him and Mike Moustakas, another young buck.
Another young buck. Oh, glorious. So first plate appearance, he was playing third base. He's sort of playing all over a little bit. He's a utility guy right now, but he's playing third base that first game, unless I'm misremembering. But anyway, he gets in a that was actually his first hit, but it was his first at bat. He actually got a walk.
Yeah.
Very first plate appearance in the big league. And this is the thing that stunned me the most about this. This is what I talk about when I say he has a clue at the plate. He gets in a 1-2 hole, 1 ball, 2 strikes immediately. And, that's a tough situation for any hitter. For a guy making his big league debut, I guess the tendency would be to be a little anxious. He works a 10-pitch walk. I mean, that was a veteran at bat. And it blew me away. And then the second at bat, his first big league hit, straight away center field home run. And do you remember the last Red? I don't know who the last Red was, but do you remember Joey Votto? Joey Votto got his first big league hit was a home run. I don't know if he was the last Red or not. Actually, I started to say that. And I thought,
Tyler Stevenson.
I knew there was somebody else that I'd heard. So, Spencer Steer, that's okay, I guess. A walk and a home run, a 10-pitch walk and a home run, and then of course he walks again in his third plate appearance, and then, or actually, no, wait a minute, he did his third plate appearance. Let's see, he got another hit in there somewhere. I don't know. The ninth, right? Yeah, he walked. It's been at least 5 days ago. I can't remember that far back.
So we're old. We can't be expected to remember things like this.
Exactly. Yeah, he led off the ninth with that double. So he had a home run, double, 2 walks, home run for his first big league hit, scored the game-winning run. I mean, literally, if you asked, 12-year-old Spencer Steer at, I don't know, James Woods Elementary School in Quahog, Rhode Island, or wherever he's from, if you asked him to write out, what do you want your major league debut to be like? I don't think anyone could even dream of something so fabulous as that, really. I don't know. It's what I love about this stupid sport is that some guy that I never heard of 6 weeks ago or 6 months ago has this debut, and we're also invested in what he can do. And I don't know. It's just, I love it. I'm happy. That's all I wanted to say.
No, I couldn't agree more. I was pretty excited about him and another guy that they got in that Tyler Mahle trade because they're a little bit closer to being big league ready. We kept getting all of these giant prospects that were 2, 3, 4 years away. And yeah, I love them. Great, do well. But these guys that are close to the big, I get to root for them soon. and he was playing really well at AAA. The guy gives me strong, tell me if you agree or disagree, strong Jeff McNeil vibes for the Mets.
Oh, yeah, please.
I was
Yeah.
looking at that slash line, and I think that it's a pretty solid comp. It's almost like Spencer Steer was built for a different era. That 80s, 90s sort of slash line era, where he's going to hit for a decent average, great on base percentage, and a fine slugging. But like in his minors career, he had an OPS well above the eights. If he can somehow maintain an 800 plus OPS, especially playing a lot of second base, I mean, that number looks a lot juicier than you move Jonathan Indy back to third. It just gives you this position flexibility that the Reds have been lacking, and I'm not unexcited about the Spencer Steer era.
I agree, and just to circle back to something you said about getting guys a little bit closer to the big leagues. The Reds actually tried to do that in their last sort of aborted rebuild, but they didn't do it. They didn't do it right. The guys they got were Jose Peraza, and guys like that, Brandon Finnegan.
Yeah, those guys were like they got them because they were almost major league ready.
Right. Whereas a guy like Spencer Steer, I don't know. I mean, he's a legit prospect. Is he a superstar prospect? No, he was. But he's a legit. He has a chance to be. And we talked a couple weeks ago about the next good Reds team, and Spencer Steer should be on the next good Reds team. I hope. So anyway, fantastic. One other note about that night that he made his debut, the Reds had another guy make his big league debut. Maybe an even better story. Definitely a better story, but Fernando Cruz. Fernando Cruz was the 62nd player to play for the Reds and the 11th to make his big league debut. I'm just stealing those stats directly from Trent Rosecrans, the Athletic. Thank you for your service, Mr. Rosecrans. 32 years old, made his major league debut, and in his one inning pitched, he struck out the first batter, fly out center field, and struck out the third batter. So wonderful. But a 32-year-old making his debut, well, his story was he was drafted, I guess, by the Royals. Yeah, drafted by the Royals as a shortstop. And this is exactly when I'm sort of banging this drum, sort of tongue-in-cheek, but not completely tongue-in-cheek, about trying to Aristides Aquino out on the mound. He played 511 minor league games. Again, I'm stealing this straight from Trent Rosecrans. 237 games in another country and 43 games independent baseball. He was a professional baseball player before Votto made the big leagues. And so
that's all you need to know. That's crazy.
It's crazy. And so he switches to the mound, and what happens? He this year he almost didn't make the team. Louisville AAA does make the team, leads them in saves, and is just dominant. And he'll get a chance to pick. He's a guy that, who knows, right? But he's a guy that will have a chance to work his way in the conversation for the bullpen next year. Is he a long-term solution? No, but heck, there are opportunities in that Reds pen, and somebody with his story, bring it on. I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he's just a serviceable piece, then he is an upgrade over most of the things that we've thrown out there. The Reds have thrown out there over the last couple of years, but the oldest Reds player to make his debut in 66 years.
Wow.
He chose the Lion King "Circle of Life" song as his walkout song.
Classic.
Too perfect for his story, for that situation. I love it. Easy to root for.
Definitely easy to root for. And we haven't even mentioned the most important fun fact about Fernando Cruz. Fernando Cruz's father-in-law, former Reds utility legend, 1990 World Series player, Luis Quinones, is his father-in-law.
I somehow missed that.
And unfortunately,
you can answer the question.
They didn't show him. I don't think he was at the game the other night, so we still don't know where Quinones is. For those of you,
but we know who to ask.
But we know who to ask. There you go. And if you don't know what "where's Quinones" means, come on, are you even a Reds fan?
Go to the riverfront.com, the riverfrontcincy.com shop and buy the "Where's Quinones" t-shirt.
Why wouldn't you? I don't understand why you wouldn't.
100% of proceeds go to us.
go to Nate's pocket. So anyway, that was a fun thing this week. The other kind of fun thing, I guess we'll say it's a fun thing, it's fun to talk about it anyway. And it's kind of this, what I've seen is a little bit of an emergence of TJ Friedel, to who I have, I'm guilty of dismissing TJ Friedel for various reasons. But all of a sudden you look up and number one, he's got hair that's second only to Jonathan India. Mm-hmm. And number two, I don't know. He's starting to look like a player. Now, when I say a player, well, before we do that, we have a good viewer mail question that'll help us lead into this. So again, as always, our viewer mail question comes from our friends at patreon.com/riverfrontcincy. This one comes from Rich Thompson. Rich asks, in a previous edition of viewer mail, I queried if Aristides Aquino would be on the Reds roster next year. Now I'm pondering the same about TJ Friedel. From what you've seen, do you think that he has a future with the Reds next year? If he does, what will be his role? Starter, bench player, or on the bus between Louisville and Cincy? What I'll say is that, he has 200 plate appearances in his big league career. So not that many, but 115 OPS plus, 281 average, 335 on base. He can play a passable defense. Here's my thing about TJ Friedel. I don't think TJ Friedel is a long-term solution for anyone in the outfield, but he is a perfect kind of, I call Jake Fraley sort of a Tyler Naquin type. And I think TJ Friedel's the same way. He's got these weird splits, and we'll have to see if those splits kind of, if they manifest themselves over a longer time. But he's a guy that he's not going to, he'll help you defensively. And you can kind of spot start him as well. And I think he's absolutely a decent fourth outfield type player going forward. And I would not have said that probably a year ago today. He's kind of won me over, and I hope it's not just me falling for small sample sizes. But I don't know. I'm fairly impressed.
Well, I probably wouldn't have said that a month ago today. I mean, it was earlier this year when he was just bouncing back and forth because he hadn't figured it out yet at the plate. But he talked about making some adjustments to his stance and swing, and maybe he figured something out. It could be just a flash in the pan. I don't know. But even if he's just on like an epic heater right now, he's certainly put himself in position to be in the conversation for a starting spot next year. Granted, they have to start somebody in the outfield. The Reds don't have a ton of outfield depth, so it's not saying a bunch. But you need guys like TJ Friedel on your team. And a few months ago, I wouldn't have expected him to be relevant at all. And here we are. He's got 800 plus OPS.
Right. Yeah. And, in the minor leagues, 367 on base all the way through. He's got some pop, not a ton of home run power, but some power. And also doubles and triples everywhere he went. He's got this crazy platoon split that I'm almost certain has to be a small sample size anomaly. But against left-handed pitchers, he crushes left-handed pitchers. But he's roughly average against right-handed pitchers. So I think he's probably I don't know. I don't know what he is, but I think there's enough there that we should be eager to see what he is, to give him more of an opportunity. And the fact is, the Reds don't have outfielders for next year. Yeah. So, I mean, Friedel will absolutely be a Cincinnati Red next year. I think he will be on the opening day roster. I don't know that he'll be a starter. I hope he's not a starter because
I'd rather have somebody better.
Right. But I don't mind having TJ Friedel around, and I'm intrigued. What's the quote? You had my attention. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. I think that's it.
Okay. I'm looking forward to the Friedel Fraley platoon. Maybe they can just do a bobblehead with two heads coming out.
One with long hair, one with a big beard. Friedel Fraley.
Too handsome.
Yeah, really. So anyway, TJ Friedel, have a season, dude. Yeah. Again, that's something I wrote about at the magazine last week before. Who can remember? But just which guys have something to play for? Because I think that's what's interesting to watch. And Friedel's a guy that I did not actually mention because I'm an idiot, but he's got something to play for. I mean, he's playing for a big league career right now. If he can finish out the season hot, it probably translates into a few years bouncing around the big leagues at the very least. Yeah. And so good for him. Good for him. Great story too. Did we talk about his story, his draft story?
I don't think so.
Every big league team just basically forgot he was draft eligible. No one drafted him because no one realized he was draft eligible. I guess he knew he was. It's a long story we really can't get into, but it's crazy. The Reds realized it pretty quickly after the draft and signed him to a free agent contract. And so, I mean, that's a scouting win right there for the organization. Just the fact that he made the big leagues at all after being undrafted is something. So anyway, that was good. Anything else this week, Nate? Yeah, there's a few other things to talk about this week, I guess. Don't need to spend a ton of time on any of these, but Green rehab start looked
Struck out
pretty
like
good.
a million dudes.
Yeah. Throwing hard, throwing triple digits. I don't know. Yeah, didn't have any walks. Struck out 4 batters. 28 pitches total, 18 strikes, 1 hit, no runs.
The video quality wasn't incredible, but it looked like his fastball had a little more life than I had gotten used to seeing. So if that's true, then that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in the camp of
speed. We can get a little bit of movement. Let's go.
Yeah, bring it on. I'm in the camp of if they wanted to shut him down, I'm okay with it at this point. Protect that baby's arm. Whatever you do, just love on it. Bathe it in essential oils. Whatever you need to do to protect him, but he's still going to be if he's going to pitch back and he's going to pitch in the big leagues again. If he has more time before his innings limit, oh my! It's still I don't care if the Reds are 1,000 games out of first place, which they are, but I don't care because it's appointment viewing for me. So
yeah, I would kind of like to, for just selfish reasons, see Hunter Green, Graham Ashcraft, and Nick Lodolo all in the rotation at the same time to finish the season, get a couple starts. That way we have that to look forward to going into 2023.
Yeah, listen, again, we're still watching because we're gluttons for punishment. But that'd be a little bit of a positive taste in the mouth after a rough season, and give us something to dream about all winter long. Because so many of our hopes and dreams for next year are going to rest on the shoulders and elbows of those 3 gentlemen.
That's right. Speaking of positive taste in your mouth, it's kind of impromptu, but Luis Cessa, what's going on?
Tell me about Luis Cessa.
The guy over the last month has got a 3.21 with a 1.01 whip across 3 starts. Obviously, he's not going long in games. There's a reason for that. He was a stinking reliever for the last 2 years. And they ran him out for a couple of those opener games, and everybody was very confused. And then suddenly we needed some starting pitching, and he was the guy. I don't think he had started a game since like 2017 or something. I could very well be mistaken on that, but he's looked decent.
Right. Well, decent is if I would have signed up for that for decent. And a matter of fact, he's kind of getting better the more he goes. Today, as always, we record this on Thursdays, and the Reds had a day game today. We told you earlier, Alejo Lopez, who I don't understand why he's just sign him to a 10-year contract to be the 25th guy on the roster and a utility player. I mean, the guy
loves me some Alejo.
You roll him out of bed at 2 a.m, he's going to put the bat on the ball. I know he's got limitations. He's whatever, but I don't know. I don't know. There's something about that guy that I just want him to be a Red. He's got real Luis Quinones vibes to me. But anyway, today Luis Cessa had the start in the win against the Cubs today. Now he did not get the win because the Reds didn't lead until the 9th inning. So some young man named Alexis Diaz picked up the win with Jibbo getting the save. But we already mentioned that. I got to come up with a funnier way to say his name. Maybe just saying it regular with my ridiculous accent would work.
Yeah, need a workshop that.
I digress. Cessa had a no-hitter through 4 innings today. Had his defense failed him a little bit, and I mentioned Friedel, but Friedel did have a kind of a rough play. He did not get charged with an error, but it probably should have been. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So, which is crazy. Friedel is today's not representative of what Friedel can do in the outfield.
Yeah, I'm not reading anything into that. Wrigley Field's weird. The sun hits weird.
Yeah, he lost one ball in the sun.
Yeah, just
actually lost 2 balls in the sun. I think
watching him bounce back is might be something worth watching. If he's able to just shake that off and come back and have a good next couple of games, then it says a lot about his his approach and his maturity.
Yeah, especially for a kid his age, just getting it's his second taste to the big leagues, but his first extended look. But anyway, you're right, Luis Cessa. I mean, is Luis Cessa going to be around? No, probably not. But we kind of mocked the Reds front office when Luis Cessa entered the rotation, and I think that mockery still is 100% deserved. You don't have a better plan for your rotation other than to let a reliever start and then sign Chase Anderson. But
who?
But kudos to Cessa, who is probably earning some money right now. I don't know if he's going to be he's probably not a starter long term. He probably goes back to the bullpen. I don't know, but someone's going to take a chance on him one way or the other. He'll get some money, and good for him. It won't be the Reds because the Reds don't give anyone money. So, anything else from the week that we? There's a few transactions I guess we can touch on.
I was going to say we haven't mentioned the best news of the week. Reds.
Go ahead.
Designated Colin Moran for assignment.
How are you gonna do that to Colin Moran?
Hardly even knew ya. Don't have to remember ya. Don't have to pretend that I'm happy that you're on the team anymore. I never cared about you from the day you were in a red uniform. See you later. But probably not.
Well, Nate, for real, don't do that, man. He was a Red.
He was, and I liked him while he was, but he's not anymore.
Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, what happened to him? Where did he go?
Probably wherever Phil assumes no one goes.
Well, he was designated assignment initially when the Reds activated Albert Almora Jr. First of all, pause the show here. Go and look up Albert Almora Jr.'s numbers, and then come back and listen to the show. And then I want to know, how bad does Colin Moran have to be to get designated for assignment so the Reds can activate Albert Almora Jr.? I just want to answer that question for yourself.
Oh man, the milk has gone bad.
So
he's got
now
some crazy eyes too. You ever look at Albert Almora Jr.? He's got something behind those eyes that I don't trust.
Does he? No, I'm happy to say that no, I have not seen his crazy eyes. The Reds ultimately ended up releasing Colin Moran, and if I may, Nate, just I'm going to take you off the screen for a moment. Get a brain, Morans. If you're not watching the YouTube, I'm showing this great clip of the Cardinals fan with a "Get a brain, Morans" sign. So anyway, Colin Moran, the Colin Moran era is over. We wish you the best of luck. Absolutely, you're a stinking pirate. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so he was released. Only other things to mention, again, I don't know if there is anything to mention here, but Daniel Duarte, remember that guy? He was sent to Louisville for a rehab assignment. And then to me, the most interesting, not most interesting, but you talked about earlier about we want to see Ashcraft and Lodolo and Hunter Green finish the season strong. Connor Overton threw 29 pitches on September 7th to Complex League hitters in Goodyear, Arizona. Complex League.
That means like a very, very difficult league.
Yeah. I think it's the Ivy League. Anyway, he's going to begin a rehab assignment next week at Louisville. So there is a decent chance that we get some Connor Overton. Although I kind of wish Connor Overton would never play again.
Yep.
Because his 4 starts with the Reds were so immaculate that he can only screw up that legacy. He could become the Ryan LaVarnway of his time. Just an all-time legend that never never got another chance. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna worry about him tarnishing that legacy. He can be a running Riverfront inside joke for the next several years if he just doesn't ever play again.
Right. And believe me, we need those.
Selfish, Connor. You're selfish.
He is. He is. You could be the next Luis Alberto Bonilla.
And who doesn't want that?
I mean, seems like that he'd want that more than, I don't know, succeeding on a Major League Baseball diamond. All right, that's basically all the news for the week. We have some viewer mail questions to take up. I will mention just quickly. I don't want to dive into this too much because it's a little bit of a downer. But I don't know if you saw what I wrote for Cincinnati Magazine this week. Last week, I don't know if any of you have seen this When It Was a Game series of documentaries that HBO produced a few years back. And it was basically just home movies from like the 40s and 50s. The big leaguers took on the field. And it's a fantastic documentary, just a really different way to look at the game. And they posted some clips on a clip on their Twitter feed of a game in 1940. It's at Wrigley Field between the Reds and the Cubs pregame, and they're bouncing around and doing what 1940 big leaguers did. And anyway, they had a black armband on their uniform, and the black armband was for Willard Hirschberger, who had been a catcher for the previous 2 seasons, and then earlier that season, and who took his own life during August of that season, the beginning of August. And so, it was a story that I said something about it, and a bunch of people said, I don't know anything about that story. A lot of people were like, I never heard that. So I said, you know what? It wasn't a fun story to live through again. And but it's an important one. I don't think that Reds fans should know. We need to make sure that it stays kind of in the consciousness, because really sad era. And of course, there was that 1940 Reds team basically went on to win the World Series, and they voted his mom a full share of the playoff proceeds. And it kind of galvanized the team in some ways, but just a troubled young man and a really sad story. And anyway, I would encourage you to go read it, because I need clicks. I need those precious, precious clicks. I don't care if you read it, actually. Just click on it. Refresh it a couple times. I don't even know if that works. I need your clicks. Please give me clicks. Actually, my editors never once mentioned clicks or any of that nonsense, and pretty much lets me write whatever I want. So that's why Cincinnati Magazine is the best outlet, because they don't mind if we upset the Reds sometimes, Reds ownership. So anyway, Nate, I don't know if you had any comments about that. I'm sure if you're smart, you didn't read it, but I like those historical stories, because some of these stories people don't know, and we need to keep them alive.
Yeah, I did read it, and I was really glad that you wrote about it, because I think it was 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, one of our viewer mail questions brought up the 1940 Reds. And I am not nearly the historian that guys like you and Chris Garber are, and Bill. So I wanted to go back and look up something about that team. And there was one little throwaway sentence at the end of their Wikipedia page that mentions Hirschberger and how the Reds gave his World Series share to his mom. And so I had to look into that a little bit further. And, so I'm glad you wrote about it. It just sort of highlights, the Reds organization handled that in a way that must have been uncommon for the era, and in an ultra sensitive and understanding way that I don't feel like you saw a lot of back in the 40s. It shows how far that we have come as a country. And yeah, just worth highlighting. And if you know somebody in your life that's having a hard time, give them a hug, let them know you're there for them. And that's all I got.
Absolutely, 100%. You're right. That was something that struck me as I was researching a little bit. The Reds manager was a Hall of Fame manager. Deacon Bill McKechnie was his name. And Deacon Bill, because he was in the church choir, and he was a genuinely solid, really good human being that everybody loved. And maybe it's a misunderstanding. I don't think it's a misunderstanding of the way the world was in 1940. I think I have a fair understanding, but it really surprised me that how he reacted to that, and he really tried to go above and beyond, and even spoke to the team about you wouldn't think mental health would be spoken about in a big league clubhouse, and he said, look, he's having He has a mental illness, and instead of playing jokes on him and laughing at him, we need to treat him with love and kindness. And I hoped my piece he didn't come across as anything other than really caring, because I think he really did care. And yeah, that was a surprising part of it. And again, I'm doing nothing if not pimping my own stuff here, but the little newsletter thing that I write at chaddotson.substack.com, I had some other things that I found in my research this week. So if you can go, and it's free, you can subscribe if you want, but I put some additional stuff that I couldn't fit into my column. And one of those is that Ernie Lombardi, he was the Hall of Fame catcher who was out, and Hirschberg was having to play in his place and putting way too much pressure on himself. Later in his life, Ernie Lombardi attempted suicide in almost exactly the same fashion. I mean, it was exactly like the way Willard Hirschberger did. And I didn't get into the details of exactly how I thought about it, but it was too gruesome. I had the details and no one needed to hear it. But the specifics of how he did it, Ernie Lombardi, that same catcher, after his career was over, tried to take his life. And it was, down to the location, how he was positioned, and there was a razor blade involved. It was just horrifying to me. And, I wonder, and this is irresponsible speculation, but they're all passed on to this point. But I wonder if he took some responsibility for what happened with Hirschberg, because he was out of the lineup and he took great pride in being a tough guy and always in the lineup. And because he was out, Hirschberg put so much stress on himself, and the stress wasn't ultimately the reason. He had issues that were long running, but to me, I thought that is bizarre. Did he in some way feel guilty? And he was, I don't know. I'm armchair psychiatrist here. I'm sorry, but it was fascinating to me. So I wrote some more words.
It was definitely worth putting a spotlight on, and like we talked about, you never know what somebody's going through. Be there for your loved ones, and mental health. It's a real thing. I'm glad that we've come a long way.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Okay, you want to answer some viewer mail questions now that we've kind of.
We're going to bring it back. Now we're going to talk about the Reds. It gets even more sad.
No, please no. All right, viewer mail. These questions, as I said earlier, come from our friends at patreon.com/riverfrontcincy. That's patreon.com/riverfrontcincy. By the way, I got to say, earlier this week, we had one of our Patreon hangouts. Every month we get together on Zoom, watch a Reds game, and I'll post the video later at Patreon for our patrons, as they call them. We call them the family. And I got to tell you, Nate, man, that is fun every single month. I have a blast every time. We have some funny guys that, we can't all get around at the ballpark because I don't go to that ballpark anymore, but it's a way for us to kind of hang out as a family and enjoy the Reds game and laugh together and make fun of each other. And I don't know. I'm just saying I have a great time. I hope you do as well.
I always look forward to them. I have a very good time, but I leave them feeling inadequate. I'm like, why does everybody know way more about the Reds than I do?
Shh, I'm supposed to say that out loud. The fact of the matter is, man, if you are a friend of the show here, you're obviously an obsessive Cincinnati Reds fan, and we love you and we salute you for it because you're sticking with a Reds podcast. Hey, we started a Bengals one because they're good. So that's going to be fun.
Give you something to get excited about.
Exactly. First question comes from our friend Sydney Price. Sydney asks, what and why is a Derek law? What is the punishment for breaking a Derek law? Order in the court, he says. So Sydney trying to get a little bit, a little cutesy on us here. Derek Law is
feeding right
allegedly a player. I know, right? He's a 31-year-old reliever who has pitched 6.1 innings for the Reds this year and has not given up a run. Derek Law is magnificent. That's what Derek Law is. Do you have a better answer to that question?
I'm going to channel my inner Chris Pratt's character in Parks and Rec. I don't know what a Derek Law is, and at this point, I'm too scared to look it up.
Andy Dwyer.
Andy Dwyer. That's it.
Why do I know that? Andy Dwyer.
That's worth knowing.
All right, Nate, a question for you. You're a TV guy. The Office or Parks and Rec?
So I know I'm in the minority here, but I go Parks and Rec all day, and I don't think it's close.
It's not even close.
Close.
I mean, I love
The Office is great. I love it. It's incredible. It's a masterpiece. But Ron Swanson is better than any single character
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
Well, and then right, but there's so many characters in that. You have Leslie Knope, who Amy Poehler is just she's
She starts off, but becomes one of the most likable TV show characters in the history of TV.
Andy Dwyer, Tom Haverford.
Tom Haverford's too good. And
right, and she's in a movie that's out now that I haven't gone to see yet.
Mark Brendanawicz. Maybe not Mark Brendanawicz. Maybe not Mark. You got to draw the line.
He's like Bob Vance for refrigeration. That's who he is on Parks and Rec. So anyway, that's our TV discussion of the week. Next question comes from Sydney. By the way, great question. I prefer Derek Law and Derek Order. Joe, that's a good show too. And they rebooted Law and Order. Have you seen that? I haven't watched it. Is it out? I don't even know.
I have no idea. As long as they have that righteous bald dude that was in every season ever. I like righteous bald dudes.
Yeah, really. I used to love that show. A little insight into me. I went to law school. You may know that. And so, man, we watched that show every week. And then after I started my career, and then I became a prosecutor, and I never watched that show again. I was like, dude, I do this all day. I need to watch it at night. So anyway, you got a little bit more of my biography there. Fans of the Riverfront. Joey Gadiza, our friend from Canada, that's north of the border. Hey guys, of the following, which has the nicest ring to it to sum up this season? The Cincinnati Deads, the Cincinnati Retreads, the Cincinnati Stayed in Bed, or the Cincinnati Finds Something Else to Watch instead?
Just top-notch questions this week.
A lot of effort put into that one. I will concede that. I don't have an answer though.
I went with I chose a different selection. The Cincinnati, I went somewhere else instead.
Oh, where are you going to go?
He doesn't need to know.
Hey, you remember that time?
They'll buy that and ruin it.
You remember that time that Phil Castellini said, where are you going to go? You hear that? That was great. That was a fun time.
There were plenty of options out there.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Hooper Powell asks this: if there was a theme song for the 2022 Reds, what would it be? Simply the Best? No, probably not that.
No. Did you have an answer? Did you come up with one?
I think I have an answer. Yes, but I'll let you. If my answer is one that a song that I've mentioned on this show 1,000 times, so I'll let you go ahead if you have an answer.
I'll bat lead off. I went with it's a parody song by Weird Al Yankovic. You may have heard of him, called "I Can't Watch This." Here's the first verse. My, I can't watch this. My TV makes me so bored. Makes me say, oh my Lord, what is this garbage here? Want to cover my eyes and plug my ears. It sucks, and that's no lie. It's about as much fun as watching paint dry. Lowers my IQ one notch, and that's the reason why I can't watch.
Brilliant. What's that a parody of? I assume it's a parody of something, because most of Weird Al stuff is a parody of something. Ah, okay. There we go.
Your boy, and inspiration for most of the pants you wear, MC Hammer.
It's true. I did have an MC Hammer phase for about 26 years. That's pretty good. That's way better than my answer. I was just going to say, and I just wanted to talk about this song because I love it so much. "Glory Days" by Bruce Springsteen. Oh man, Hunter Green threw that speedball by him this year. So I'm sorry. I just want to take another opportunity to crap on Bruce Springsteen, the most overrated musical artist in the history of American music.
That's a very cold take that I disagree with. But you did remind me of something that I don't think we touched on very much with talking about throwing the speedball by it. Nick Lodolo's start against the Rockies.
Nick Lodolo started against the Rockies?
6 innings pitched, no earned runs, 9 strikeouts, and 1 K. The guy was dropping it on the table.
No, it was actually the most dominant I've seen him. I mean, it really was. We probably should have added that up there when we were talking about the legend of Spencer, whoever that guy is, Steak, and Spencer Steak, and I don't know, Joey Friedel. Yeah, no, looked fantastic. Looked absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, got that ERA below 4, 11.2 Ks per 9 right now. Like, ugh.
Again, it's all health with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's all help with Lodolo and Green both. I mean, I'm 100% convinced those guys are big league, above average big league starters, and potentially one or both could be star pitchers. They have that kind of ability. It's just all about health, and so I'm just not going to say anything else about Hunter Green because I get yelled at every time I say something about Hunter Green and health.
You're right though. If they can stay healthy and reach their ceiling, then they have a chance to be on Graham Ashcraft's level.
Well, now let's not get silly here.
That's a good point.
Come
That's
on.
a good point. Sorry.
No one's on.
Getting excited. It's just strawberry wine I'm drinking.
There we go. Strawberry wine, 17.
First July.
Yeah.
Call
everything.
Saw everything. First taste. Dina Carter.
Bittersweet.
Look it up.
Dina Carter. Strawberry wine. Man, the 90s. There's a 3-year
Springsteen to Dina Carter. We all the stars.
Dina Carter, way better artist than Bruce Springsteen. There was a 3-year period in the 90s where I really loved country music. That's the only time I've ever liked country music in my life. Just FYI.
Nobody's perfect.
All right, sorry, we're getting off the rails here. I feel like Garber's here. It's gotten off the rails so bad. But I'm going to circle back to something you just said. Did you know there's a new movie coming out about Weird Al Yankovic?
I did. Daniel Radcliffe is.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Man, looks the part.
It gets bad reviews. I'll see it. Weird Al is the most. I said that Springsteen is the most overrated. Weird Al actually may be the most underrated American entertainer of the last 50 years. I don't know. That's a hot take. Probably a cold take.
It's a take.
It's a take. All right. Seth Shaner asks. Let me take a breath here because it's a long breath. The beginning of the NFL season reminds me of opening day. Already smarting from the offseason moves that saw players given away to save payroll. Phil Castellini had just opened his mouth and his words were making their way across the Twitterverse when Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins took the field there at Great American Ballpark. The love for them in the stadium, along with Zach Taylor, was palpable. A, do you think Reds ownership had any envious thoughts at that time? And B, will we ever again experience love for a Red squad like is permeating throughout Bengaldom right now? All right, so I'll answer the first of these, and I'll give you a chance, Nate, then we'll go to the second one. Do you think the Reds ownership had any envious thoughts at that time? Frankly, I think that the Reds ownership, during their more lucid moments, have been beating themselves up a little bit. I think actually that week where they signed Tommy Pham and Mike Minor was a response to how much the love for Bengals love versus how much the Reds were getting hate. Yeah, I think so. I think they have to look down the way and see what the team's doing, the Bengals. And I don't know if jealousy is not the right term, but I'm sure that it's entered into their thinking. Now, has it changed their behavior? I don't know, but I think so, yes, is the answer to the first question. Nate, you got an answer?
Nope. Agree completely.
There we go. B. I'll let you answer this one first. Will we ever again experience love for a Red squad like it's permeating throughout Bengaldom right now?
So this one's tough.
It's not tough.
Because
it's easy.
I think you have to be in the same position that Bengals fans are right now to share something similar. Now, like the Reds just being very good, we've experienced that. If you're older than me, you've experienced that in a big way in 1990. If you're around my age or younger, then you haven't experienced much outside of just a couple competitive teams. And the love for those teams, while intense and passionate, is nothing like what is happening in Bengals land right now. It's nationwide. The entire country is in love with the Cincinnati football team. Joe Burrow has just captured the national conscience. The Reds would have to be a young, plucky squad that makes a run a year or two before anybody ever expected them to. And the odds of that happening are so slim that it makes me sad. Seth, your questions always make me sad.
Well, I'm going to probably disagree with you just a little bit.
Good, please.
First of all, I'll say this. I want you to remember that night we were in Cincinnati for Game 3 of the 2010 National League Division Series. What did you see everywhere around you? Insanity, right?
Mm-hmm. I was going to say Homer Bailey jerseys, but yeah, insanity. Same thing.
I mean, the stadium that night was as electric. There's only one other time probably that I've seen it more electric than that. And that was Todd Frazier at the Home Run Derby. So there is a passion there that's just waiting to be unlocked. So now I think everything you just said is absolutely fair, probably undeniably correct. But will we ever again experience love for a Red squad like Bengaldom right now? My answer is yes. And my answer has to be yes. And the reason my answer has to be yes is that I've invested a lot of my life. I invest a lot of my time every single week in talking about the Reds, in thinking about the Reds, in writing about the Reds. And I don't think I could keep going if I didn't think there was a chance. Now, do I trust the Castellinis to do it? Absolutely not. The Castellinis, it will not happen until the Castellinis are gone. But the Castellinis will be gone someday. Oh, please. And I don't know. When the Reds are good, when the Reds are something approaching, I should say if probably, but I'm going to say when the Reds are approaching something like what the Bengals are right now, let me just tell you something. This city will be crazier than they are now. It will be wilder. And people are wild about the Bengals, and that's awesome. I've gotten crazy about them in recent years, whereas I used to not care at all because they're a fun product with a lot of good young stars that are easy to like, and a guy that can kick the ball to the moon. But I remember what it was like and how hungry Reds fans were in 2010. And I think when we have a competitive team again, like a real competitive team, not a 2010 team, which frankly was not really a threat to win the series. I just think it's going to be wild. And I think that we're all going to hop back on the bandwagon, and it's going to be fun. And I can't wait to be talking about it. You know what I was thinking the other night? I cannot wait to be doing emergency podcasts after a playoff game, after every game. Just jumping on, talking about the team after every game, breaking down whatever dumb thing Jonathan India did or what great thing Tyler Stevenson did or whatever. So anyway, I'm waxing poetic again, maybe a little bit, but I have to believe that time is coming.
I love it. I mean, that chance, the chance that does happen is why we do this. It's why Reds fans continue to be Reds fans. And if we're doing those emergency podcasts after all the games, then I need to speak to my attorney about what irreconcilable differences actually means.
Yeah, well,
that doesn't fall into the column.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, pal. Last question, and then we'll get out of here. But it's a question that dovetails very nicely to what we were just talking about. We don't have that right now with the Reds, but James Urban asks, can we adopt the Mariners for the postseason? I'm all in. Mariners Nation, baby. And the answer to that is an unequivocal, absolutely yes. We probably should have a Mariners segment on the show every week because, gosh, I'm in love with that team.
My God, a Game 7 in the World Series with Luis Castillo on the bus for the start. Gino, who is got like 4.2 WAR right now, by the way. Jesse Winker getting these meaningful at bats. Oh man, give it to me. Pump it directly into my veins. Oh. I'll take a little San Diego Padres on the NL side if they can get their crap together. Let me know what Brandon Drury can do for you.
Bring it on, man. I'm all for it. Yeah. I hope the Padres can get it together, but this week with the Mariners, Eugenio Suarez got his 1,000th major league hit, which was a home run. And the Mariners social accounts, I follow the Mariners social accounts. I mean, what is going on in the world? Because they have so much love for Eugenio Suarez that it oozes through the phone screen. We all know why. Eugenio Suarez is one of the 3 most likable Cincinnati Reds players of my lifetime, and arguably the most likable. But they love him already there, and part of that, of course, is because he's playing really well. But I'm so happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Good vibes only.
Good vibes only.
Yeah, I love that guy. And yes, you absolutely have permission to cheer for the Mariners the rest of the way, but you got to be back by opening day with the Reds next year because where are you going to go? So, any final thoughts, Nate?
We did have one more question from Jordan Salisbury.
Oh, did I miss one?
On that? About the big 50.
Thanks for calling me out on skipping Jordan on the question I was most excited to read because he's complimentary of me. Jordan, man, I'm sorry, dude. Thank you for catching that today. Jordan Salisbury. Chad, he addressed it to me too. I'm reading The Big 50. That's the men and moments that made the Cincinnati Reds. I'm reading the Big 50 book and love it. And listen, I'm just not saying this. There's an actual exclamation point.
There was an exclamation point.
In chapter 28, man, there are 28 chapters of that book. Oh, I think there were 50 actually. You touch on the young pitchers like Jim Maloney, Don Gullett, and Wayne Simpson, all being abused and overused in their early careers, which cut their time in the majors ultimately short. It seems Rose did the same with Mario Soto. Was this a problem exclusive to the Reds organization over decades, or did every team treat young, talented arms this way? The answer is every team did it. This was not a Reds thing. The number of players that were great and then flamed out, are legion. Don Gullett was, matter of fact, in the I guess it was the 1975 World Series. Don Gullett was just so magnificent that they had, I think it was Game 7. I'm pretty sure it was before Game 7. And Don Gullett started for the Reds, and Spaceman Bill Lee started for the Red Sox. And they asked Reds manager Sparky Anderson, he's like, well, all I know is my pitcher tomorrow is going to the Hall of Fame. And then he kind of left it at that. And to which Bill Lee ended up responding, yeah, I'm going to, Edwards Lounge or something after the game. But anyway, Gary Nolan's another one you can add to that list that just had their arms blown out and were just so talented. Gary Nolan, I think he's like a Hunter Green type talent, a Hall of Fame type talent. Hey, go look at Gary Nolan's numbers early in his career, and then he was just done before age 30. So, yeah, it was every team, but it certainly hit the Reds hard.
He said Maloney in that question. I thought he was talking about Matt Maloney. I'm like, I don't remember. I don't remember that happening or mattering.
Here's what's sad, Nate, is that when I read that question, obviously Jim Maloney, one of the greatest Reds pitchers of all time. And I'm the history guy. I love Reds history. I write about it. I talk about it way too much because who cares? But when I first read that question, I was like, Matt Maloney? Matt Maloney. How do we even remember that guy? First of all, I should be an obscure former Red, but Matt Maloney. So anyway, Jordan, great question. I apologize for trying to skip over you, but Nate called me out on it.
I also don't appreciate Jordan directing a question only to you. There are two of us here, Jordan. I once wrote an email that I'm very proud of, and if you want to read it, let me know. I'll send you a PDF, a PDF.
Oh gosh, Nate, we kind of went off the rails a little bit here today, but I had a good time. Did you have a good time?
I had way more than I expected to.
Well,
I was talking to you. I can only expect so much.
That's exactly right. There's a ceiling there. I get it. That's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings. So anyway, the Cincinnati Reds, we follow them, we watch them, we talk about them every single week here at the Riverfront. Please, follow us everywhere. Look, we're on YouTube. Again, go to YouTube. I'm really pleased with how the subscriber numbers are consistently going up. So thank you all for that. But give us a like, give us a subscribe, a follow, whatever they call it over there. Subscribe to the channel. But definitely smash that like button. Really appreciate all of you that do that, and appreciate all of you that comment over there too. So that's always fun. Yeah. We're at Riverfront Cincy on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course we've mentioned our Patreon. And this show would not be possible. I should have said this earlier in the show, and I need to say it more often. This show would not be possible without our family at Patreon. You guys really make this work, and actually you make it fun for me too. It's something I look forward to doing because we have this great group. And listen, it's a couple bucks a month to join the Slack channel and be part of the family. So if you want to join us, come join us. We have a good time, I promise. All right, that's it. Nate, you got anything else for us before we get out of here?
That's it, man. We're still talking about this team now. We'll do it for the rest of the season, and for some reason in the off season, like, we'll keep it up, for better or worse.
Literally forever. We're never going to stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Hey, this is Chad Dots. No, how do I end this thing? I've only done this
the Riverfront
43
I'm
times.
I'm Chad Dotson.
Radio.
No, you're Chad
For Nate.
Dotson.
Oh, that's right. For Nate Dotson and Matt Maloney, this is Chad Dotson saying, so long, everyone.